Hi, thanks for stopping by my channel, Irene's Paper Addiction. Recently, my husband and I, along with some friends, went up to Vancouver. And while we were there, Vancouver was having their Celebration of Lights, which is a big fireworks competition they hold every year. And prior to watching the fireworks competition, we went out on this Zodiac boat. It was a boat, there was only 10 of us on the boat, and it took us around all the sounds surrounding Vancouver Island. We got to see bald eagles. There's one way up here in the tree. You can't actually see it, but here's another one. And you could see, look at him perched right there. Saw a lot of great wildlife while we were up there. And we ended up having dinner, which was part of this tour, which also included the fireworks show, out in Gibson Landing, which is like the far end, I guess, of Vancouver Island, if I understood correctly. Easiest way to get there was by boat. That's how we went there. And this is just the bay of Gibson Landing. Just absolutely gorgeous. But once we had dinner, we came back, and then we were able to watch the fireworks display. This is the Vancouver skyline with the start just before they started. They, I guess, lit off a trial, I don't know, but they lit off a fireworks, and that's why it's still a little bit light there. And then all the different fireworks displays. So let me clear this out and bring in some paper. Like normal, we'll be pulling the paper colors that I want out of my picture. So we have some greens, we have blues, we have browns. So it's, the way I look at it, Vancouver was like where the mountains meet the bay. So I'm going to be bringing in some Misty Moonlight. I want to use that, I think, as my background. I'm also going to be working off of a sketch. I love creating sketches, just make everything really easy for me. But the sketch was developed from a sketch in the catalog. Every month I do a scrapbooking or a sketch collaboration. In this month, we are working on this one. So my sketch is a take on this sketch. So they had one great big banner here. I was thinking I'm going to be doing multiple banners. These will be banners. I just didn't know on Cricut Design Space how to cut the banner into that without having it too deep, which I didn't like. They had a little circle in the one photo. So I'm going to be putting a bigger circle here to ground my photo, add my title, a bunch of 2x5s, which is great for all the fireworks photos, and then a few more photos here on the right. Kind of want to work from the cruise that we took or through the sound and everything, then end up here with the fireworks display. So I'm going to bring in what I think, like I said, I want to bring in browns and greens and blues. And so this is the 6x6 paper pack. Let me grab that, give you the name. Sorry, right here. This is the Timeless Plaid 6x6. So this has just a ton of really great plaid papers. They are two-sided. You get like 4 or 6 of each in the pack. I don't know if this is available anymore, but a lot of their 6x6 paper packs are really great. So I'm going to be pulling those colors from there. This green is also the same, as you can see. And then this is from the Woven Textures. So those are going to be my banners. So I'm going to just want to lay those out here real quick. I know it's going to be a little odd, but I'm thinking, like I said, I'm going to be bringing in a really large circle instead of that little small one that they had. And then I'm going to use the picture of my husband and I as the focal photo. I did design it so that I had a couple of 2x5s on the bottom, but when I did that, I realized I didn't like that. It didn't work. The pictures were just a little bit too small. So what I'm going to be doing is putting in some 3x4s. So those are going to sit down here at the bottom. I'm going to add my title here through the center, and then put that in a flip flap, put my journaling in there as well. Over here on the right side is going to be all of those little 2.5 by 2.5 photos, which I think is just perfect for the fireworks, because you really don't need, in my opinion, that, you know, large photos. This is a picture of the sunset when we were heading over for the fireworks display. I'm going to put that one on the bottom, tuck this one underneath, and then I'll have one other fireworks display photo over here. So that is what I'm thinking. Oh, I do have this one other. I may put this one in a flip flap as well, so that I can, that's where I'm going to put my journaling, because these three are going to go here on in a flip flap on the left. So I am going to cut down my banners out of these papers, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to repeat it on the right side. So once I cut these down, I'm going to see what that looks like and then make that decision. So let me clear these all out. I'm going to cut those down, and let's see what that looks like. I cut out all my banners using the party banner dies, which is the one that has all the really large different banners, and I just used a couple of different ones. It looks like I used this one way out here for that, and then this one I used a little bit somewhat smaller. So whatever works on your project. For the 6x6 pieces of paper, as you can see, mine are larger than 6x6. I did just attach them together, and I tried to just match it up as best I can. This one is less noticeable than this, so I probably tuck this one behind so that you can't see it. But they're going to come over here on the right side, and I think I want to stagger them, stair step them, you know, from smallest to largest. So something like this. And then I have the large circle that is going to hold my photo. And then I have my little flip flap down here. I have started creating my title. That is going to go in here. It's going to say Vancouver Adventure, and I'm going to fit that one in here just to make sure it looks okay. I have to leave room for that if it's a flip flap, so I'm going to put that one up a little higher, and I think that's how that is going to look. So let me lay out the photos on the other side and see if I want to add banners here as well, because it is going to be a little bit plain otherwise. So I'm tucking this one back in here, my 2.5 by 2.5s. It could be whatever size works for you. And then that one is going to go there. And I'm thinking it definitely needs something. I'm going to cut out a couple banners and let me see how that looks. I could also just put like a bookend here using the same colors, but let me cut out the banners because I really do like the banners, and let's just see how that works. So I cut out some banners. I did ink all of those up. I did that also with these, and I did it just with pecan pie so that they were all the same. So let me just slide these out of the way real quick. I want to keep the green underneath. Bring that up a little higher. Then my little woven paper, bring that up. And then this one. The problem is that they will be hidden underneath this photo. So don't think I like that. What if we try going this way? See if that makes sense. I don't know. If not, I'll probably just do a bookend here to make, you know, just to bring those colors on over. So let's bring that down. Let's do it in the same configuration as the other side, and let's just see. That way my little 2.5 by 2.5s can just sit on that banner up there. Let's see what that would look like. This one would go down here a little higher. This one goes here, and then and this is a 4x4, so that I'm going to tuck right there. So I actually am pretty much okay with that. I think I'm going to adhere down my papers and my photos. I'm not sure if I'm going to mat those or not, so at least let me adhere down my papers. Okay, and see if I want to mat up those photos and then start bringing in some of my embellishments. I adhered down all my banners and some of my photos. I put my photos in a flip-flop. This one is adhered down with the one underneath. This one I'm waiting because I'm going to do an embellishment cluster here, and I need to get underneath there in case I need to move anything. I'm going to leave. I have it adhered down. I don't know if I can get in there, but I left this open. Oh, see, it's there. It's there. See, so I have a lot of room here, and I left room underneath there. So I can tuck my embellishment clusters down there. I did at least adhere down my letters. So like I said, Vancouver Adventure, that's going to sit right about here. I'm just going to let it overlap my photo a little. I moved my circle down because I thought it looked a little too heavy, but I do want to do something with my circle. I'm going to bring in the Birchwood 3D embossing folder. Partially, it's perfect size. It's going to bring in a little bit more texture to this the circle. Otherwise, it's pretty flat and plain. And I probably will do just a little bit of inking over the top. Let me run this through the embossing my embossing machine, my die cut machine, really quick, and then we'll get that situated here. So I ran it through the die cut machine and it came out, I don't know if you could see the texture, it came out really good. I'm going to highlight the texture with a little bit of ink, but when you run your embossing folders through your die cut machine, you always want to make sure, if it's a Stampin' Up one, that the Stampin' Up is face up. That way it embosses up. Otherwise you're going to have a deboss. But with this one, I don't think it makes that much of an issue. But like I said, I'm just going to bring in just a little inking tool, and I'm just going to lightly come over the top just to try to bring out a little bit more of that texture. And that way it gives us some texture without any weight. So I think that's pretty cool. So when we were up there and we got to experience this, I'm going to bring in a piece of paper so I don't get it on my layout. This fireworks display, it's a competition or a celebration that I guess Vancouver does every year, and it's normally an international one. But this year it was just Canadian teams. And so it was Quebec against Nova Scotia against the Yukon. So this fireworks display is Quebec's fireworks display. The competition goes for 3 days. It's a Saturday, a Wednesday, and then the following Saturday. So we were just lucky that that was going on while we were there. Nova Scotia won. So we didn't get to see their fireworks display. That was the following Saturday. But it was really cool. I mean, there were so many boats in the harbor and huge yachts. I don't have any pictures of it with me, but they were everywhere. And we were in this little Zodiac or Kodiak boat. I'm not exactly sure which one it is, but there were people going around the harbor in jet skis and kayaks and paddle boards. And I mean, I thought they were crazy, but whatever. So this is what the panel looks like inked up. I'm going to tuck that one over here. Let me adhere down my photo to my mat. I don't think I'm going to adhere down the mat quite yet either, because I'm going to be tucking some things in behind it for my cluster. So that one's going to go there. My title's going to go here, and I'm going to have that sitting right on top, just like that. And then I'm going to build a cluster here. So let me adhere the circle down. That way that is secure, because I'm going to not tuck anything behind it. There we go. Let's put that in down here. And I'm going to secure the photo down, but leave this side open. So I'm just going to add the adhesive about that far. And that way, I'm going to put that on top. I did mat only one photo, which was this focal photo in Mossy Meadow. I was going to cut other mats, but they just didn't look good on with the darker photos in the background and what have you. Kind of blended in too much. So let me tear down the title as well, and then we can start the embellishment process. So I'm going to leave that something like that, sits on the circle, kind of supports it there. I have room for my flip flap to move, and I think that's great. So I always have a nice little dish of embellishment items. So I definitely know I am going to be bringing in these trees. I must have pulled everything out of my stash. The trees are from the Scenic Adventure, and I'm going to be, you don't see it here, but this die here is just like, I don't know, like a mountain range, part of a mountain range. I'm not sure. I'm going to use that as a grounding point. But I pulled in so many different things. So I'm going to put that over here like this. And then I'm going to build, just put my trees here, I think. I have a bunch of different trees. I want to put a circle over here to kind of bring that over here. I created a few sentiment strips, so I don't know if we're going to be using those. So if I tuck this one under here, between both of them, I was thinking maybe a little sailboat there because we are out on the water. The sailboat is from the Sunrise Sailing. So that I just did stamp, the Sunrise Sailing, and then it's a die set as well. So I die cut out these waves, and I just thought maybe, we'll tuck that underneath, and the sailboat can sit in the waves, and then maybe bring in some trees over here as well. I do have a really cute little cloud that I inked up with some cloud cover. I can bring that in here, and that might be my cluster, maybe a sentiment strip. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I bring those in. I did cut out a second title. That's what you see here, but I decided against using it. I also stamped some little arrows because those are always kind of fun. Just little tiny embellishments, especially if you have a tag or a tab or something you want to add those on. I'm thinking I want to go with a couple of different trees there, and then I also have these little tiny single ones. Let's see, let's bring in a light one on the dark. I think that will look better. And maybe this is a good place for having an additional sentiment right there. So I'm liking that so far, and maybe we will tuck something like that up there with a couple of trees just to have a third point of interest, maybe some smaller ones. Maybe we put this one over here, and then this can go up here, and then I could build a little tiny cluster of these trees. Let's get some light ones here. I think that might look cute. So one more. So something along that line. Maybe we just bring them down so you can't see too much of the trunk of the tree. So clear these out and just get a visual of what I have going on here. I'm probably going to tuck this in a little further and trim that off. And maybe just bring in, because this is looking a little sad over here all by itself, bring in a couple of trees over here as well. Something like that. So those ones blend in together too much. Let's use the dark one. There we go. So I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Let me adhere this all down real quick, and then we can take a final look at the layout. Everything's been adhered down. I did pop up some of the tips of the trees, and here the sail and the top of the sailboat, the cloud, a few little things that I just popped up. Just use these little, the mini Stampin Dimensionals, just really tiny. Got my flip flap. This one I adhered down. That will be my journaling. I did add just a little tab here with the date that came from the Tags to Go stamp set. But I thought I'd add just a little bit of bling, just a bit. So I really like these. They're called pressed flower motifs, and they're like a heavy metal with a little tiny flower impressed in there. But I just think I want to just add a couple of those around, and those come in a large and a small size. Just do 3 there, and then maybe just a couple over here on this side by our sailboat. So I did mention that this is a collaboration with the ladies over at Crafty Concepts with Erin. Oopsies. Run away, run away. Sometimes the sticky doesn't stick. So, so I will include the link to the playlist in my description below, along with everything else that I use, in case you want to check them out. Ladies are super talented, and I think you enjoy watching their videos. So just add, I'm thinking maybe just one more over here, and I think that will call it a layout. So let me bring it in just really quick. So share with you my embellishments. They're super simple, just the trees. I guess if you did that in blue, that could be a stream. So for me, it's a road. I guess that's what I'm going to call it now. My title, I did use the, let me grab that one, this Weekend Adventures. And when I did it, this is all one stamp. So I worked on my Misty, and I just kept wiping it off, and I just went really slowly with a lot of light layers just so I could get the adventure part, because I did not want the starts here. Vancouver is from the mini alphabet, the one that punches everything out at once. And then here on the right, I can lift it up. Again, super simple. Brought in those banners from the right to the left opposed to top to bottom. Little sailboat, just thought that with the water just made a lot of sense. We're in the mountains, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't yet subscribed, please please do so. It really truly helps my channel, and if you could give it a like and a comment, that would be great as well. And I will leave a couple other videos for you to check out in the end. Have a good one. See you next time.